First and foremost, I want to thank everyone for joining us here today at the State House. As many of you know, for the last 4 years, I've stood behind this podium and raised concern about health care. A number of press conferences, 4 years have gone by. We continue to raise the same questions. We still are concerned that Vermonters are not getting access, more access, or access to affordable health care. Patient choices and patient rights are being infringed, and we are very concerned about that. And we've raised these concerns year after year after year with the Shulman administration. Today we're calling on the governor to take some leadership and improve transparency, and we are inspired to do this based on what Auditor Doug Hoffer found in the contract yesterday. And from that point, I'm going to turn it over to Senator Benning.
So back on December 23rd, you may recall that Don and Phil Scott and I and a few others had a press conference out here in the hallway. And we were having some chat about what was going on that we were so curious about. And specifically, in my case, I was suggesting that there were some problems with the Gruber contract and that we were very interested in making sure the state was paying out money that it was supposed to be paying out. Now, what I didn't tell you at the time, and looking back probably should have, is that in mid-November there was an article on vtdigger.org in which Doug Hoffer and I engaged in a back and forth about what was going on with the Gruber contract. Essentially, he was concerned at that time that he did not have the staff necessary to conduct an audit. Well, 3 days later, I asked specifically for a formal audit. And I'm not going to read you the entire thing because it's 2 pages long, but I'll read 4 sentences from it. I addressed the letter to Doug Hoffer, William Sorrell, and Jeb Spalding. This was dated November 23rd at 11:42 p.m. Yes, it was 11:42 p.m. when I sent it. Gentlemen, please consider this as an official request for each of you to respond to my concerns over the state's handling of the contract with Jonathan Gruber. First, I'm concerned about Mr. Gruber's personal services have not yet been actually legally terminated. Second, I question whether the invoices submitted meet the state's expectation for describing work performed. Third, it appears we are paying unnamed individuals who are not authorized by the contract. Finally, I question the trustworthiness of the invoices themselves. Now, unbeknownst to me at that time, 2 other legislators were independently asking the same questions. If they decide they want to tell you who they are, I'll let them do that. But the nutshell is I wanted you folks to know that the Republicans were out in front on this question, and we are very happy that Mr. Hoffer chose to do a performance audit. And we are calling on the Attorney General now to follow through with that and actually investigate to decide whether or not anything more formal should be done with respect to Mr. Gruber. Thanks. I suppose I should also remind you that about a year ago we sent a letter to then District Attorney for the state of Vermont, Tristan Coffin, asking for an investigation regarding CGI. We have to assume that that is still being looked into, though oddly enough, whenever you ask for an official investigation, they are not at liberty to do anything about that afterwards to tell you exactly what the status of that investigation is. Thus far, we haven't heard anything. I did make a request and haven't heard. So now I am calling on the new District Attorney for the state of Vermont to follow through on that initial request. Lastly, Don and I have joined together as caucus leaders and have requested the Inspector General for the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services to conduct a federal investigation into how and why money is being spent by the state of Vermont that are federal dollars for this entire fiasco. And by all means, this is a fiasco, and Vermont needs to turn this around. It is incumbent upon all of us to make sure that our tax dollars, be they state or federal, are being spent properly. And we have been raising this question for many months now about what's going on. So we are calling on the governor to be more transparent. We are calling on the people who are running the ship of state to make sure that they are actually spending dollars properly. And if that is not the case, we are hoping that our federal district attorney and the Inspector General for the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services will be on top of that. I think that does it for me. Thank you.